In the summer of 2020, Emilio Wigianto was sitting on a train heading from remote villages to the city of Yogyakarta. He was sent to the countryside when he was only 9 years old. He spent his life until now in the countryside, but he was finally able to return today. With a reason that the Wigianto family wanted to marry off their daughter to Putra Green Garden. There were rumors that the groom in the Green Garden was on the verge of death. The two daughters of the Wigianto family did not want to marry this dying man. So his family sent him back. The girl who had been raised in the countryside all this time was asked to hurry back to marry a dying man. Amelia was sitting on her seat, casually reading the book in her hand, but suddenly the carriage door was pushed open. Instantly a cold wind from outside rushed in with a terrifying smell of blood. Amelia was surprised to see a weak person lying on the floor unconscious. After that, several people dressed in black rushed in. "Boss, it's quiet here, so let's send him straight to hell." "Stupid. Who said quiet?" The bare and scary man looked at Amelia. Amelia was shocked and frightened at the same time because the horrible man's gaze was fixed on her. And again the unconscious man who suddenly fell to the floor brought a gripping and terrifying atmosphere. The big man seemed to have the intent to kill. From the look in his eyes, from the appearance and gaze of the man, there was no hesitation in killing others. Amelia calmly glanced at the weapons in their hands, and quickly begged for mercy. "Don't hurt me, I didn't see anything." The scary man stepped forward and looked at Amelia's small face. Her face was covered in black cloth, but her eyes were still visible, so she couldn't see her real face. After that, Amelia kept pleading with a pair of beautifully narrowed pupils. The reflection in his eyes was very bright, and between his eyes and his mouth swayed, expecting mercy from the big man. The man had never seen such a beautiful pair of eyes before. His gaze made a different feeling in his heart. Besides, he hadn't touched a woman in a long time, so he immediately had negative thoughts about her. "Hey beautiful, you don't have to worry, we won't hurt you, but you have to keep this a secret." Amelia's slender body trembled. She uttered the words pitifully, I don't want to die, I will keep this secret of yours. So please don't hurt me, I beg you." Amelia pleaded with fear and hope. The girl's gentle plea made the man even more interested. The man hurriedly brought his body closer until Amelia fell under his arms. "Boss, let's settle this matter first. We'll send this guy to hell first. After that, let's have some fun with him." In the cabin filled with the laughter of the bad guys and the gentle woman again trembling with fear. The scary man put down his gun and reached out to pull Amelia's zipper. But suddenly, a small and delicate white hand appeared. The man raised his head and looked the girl in the eye. Now his pupils were showing panic and weakness, blinking in hopes of a miracle. "You dare!" When the man wanted to speak, Amelia raised her hand and stabbed the needle in her hand into the man's head with precision. The man immediately closed his eyes and collapsed to the floor. "Boss!" All the men in black were shocked and stepped forward, but suddenly the man he was carrying was weak, who fell to the floor and lay unconscious, opened his eyes, and quickly took the weapon from the man in black. One by one, the men in black were all subdued by the man who was weak and helpless earlier. His fast movements were hard to understand because the person he thought was dying could move like that. Amelia sat still, transfixed. She thought that this man must be pretending to be unconscious, and the blood on his shirt might be someone else's blood. Amelia raised her eyes to look at the man, and the man also looked at her. He had a pair of eyes that were extremely deep and sharp as an eagle's. Brother, thanks for helping me." Amelia spoke, trembling and limping. Rescuers arrived and began to heroically clean up the resulting mess. Amelia handed the clean cloth to the man. The man wiped his hands gracefully, then he looked at the girl and walked towards her until he was standing in front of Amelia, his small jaws panting anxiously. The man narrowed his narrow eyes and looked at him playfully, his voice smooth and manly. "What do you think I will do with you?" His chin was pinched by his fine but strong fingers, and Amelia was forced to look at him. The man was tall and manly, handsome and magnificent, his aura was strong and cold as ice at the poles. He had just wiped his hands, but he could still smell the pungent fishy smell and his cold, indifferent expression. It's hard to let go of negative thoughts when someone looks in you and does what they shouldn't. This man is dangerous, thoughts that just crossed Amelia's mind. Amelia immediately dropped the man's hand, and said with a serious face, "Insolent, don't touch me that way. I've been betrothed to marry a Green Garden man. I already have a fiancé. So I have to take care of myself for him." The man raised an eyebrow, slightly tugged Amelia, and asked, "Are you the bride?" Amelia replied, "Are you from Jogja? Then you should know that it is the daughter of the Wijaya family who will marry the son of Green Garden." This wedding created a sensation throughout the city. If something happened to me, surely you can imagine what would happen next. Let me go, I'll pretend I didn't see anything, and I won't say anything. Crossed Amelia's mind, she now really wanted to thank her stepmother Yulia. Yulia was the one who brought him back to Jakarta, and could only give him a seat on the cheap train, but this wedding he organized was a very luxurious sensation. It was a way to earn his reputation and recognition. The daughter of the Wijaya family will marry the son of Green Garden. This is the biggest gossip ever in Jakarta. Amelia was willing to bet that this man didn't want to get into trouble after he mentioned the name Green Gardenia. The man looked at him with interest. Today, he was kidnapped and nearly killed by his business rival. And meeting this girl was an accident. For a girl who was only 20 years old, despite her pale face and disheveled clothes, her clear and beautiful eyes signaled intelligence. The man looked back and averted his gaze. Amelia's fingertip that was tightening slowly loosened. At this time, the man in front of him turned his head slowly, looked at him, and slowly said under his lips, "We'll see each other soon." Amelia couldn't understand those words at all. Luxury Victoria Hotel, family wedding was held at this place. In the bridal room, Yasmin Wijaya looked at his half-sister Amelia, and said, "Amelia, your mother died when you were 9 years old, and then you pushed your own grandfather off the stairs with your own hands. You are indeed a troublemaker and bad luck, that's why you were sent to that village by your father. If you come back to mess around again, you can only stay in that village for the rest of your life. So be careful with your actions. You are not the daughter of the Wijaya family, but the Wijaya family's dog. Remember that." Amelia sat down at the dressing table and said lightly and nonchalantly, "Who's the dog?" Yasmin sneered, "You are the dog." Amelia pursed her lips. "I already know, so you don't have to tell me anymore."
Thank you all. Have a nice day. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, so that the admin is more enthusiastic to provide entertainment for all of you. See you in the next video.